What is going on, Rangers fans? I am Randy, and we are back for the Pokemon Global Battle League Western Conference Championship game, Western Conference Finals, or you can call them the PGBL Semifinal. Of course, the winner of this goes on to the Finals, and of course, this is actually a rematch from last year's Western Conference Final. We played the South Texas Sableyes. Unfortunately, we took the loss there. I've been saying this about pretty much every time I bring up Josh. But of course, we're playing South Texas Sableyes. We played them so many times that it honestly could go either way anytime we play. We are doing a post-com, unfortunately, because I was kind of rushed for time, and so was he. So I kind of just went for post-com. Although I will try to get up a live com, and next time we do battles on the channel, which we never know when that could be. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, we've played. This is like the 8th time we've played already, man, on the channel, and it's just crazy because. We both feel like we can both take each other out because we know we can. We've done it before. But obviously, I want to get revenge from last year because he hacks me out. And that's not to say he hasn't ever not hacked me out. Like, he's beaten me pretty cleanly a lot of times, especially the first time we played. So going into this matchup, I do think he's going to bring a team similar to what he brought the first time we played. Strategy being to get up rocks and toxic spikes because I don't ever bring hazards. I don't ever bring hazard control. So I'm definitely thinking to take advantage of that. Of course, his team is followed: Mega Heracross, Jirachi, Hydreigon Z, Toxapex, Cloyster, Porygon 2, Torkoal, Archeops Z, Tangrowth, and the Sylveon. So, I do expect Toxapex. That's the mon I do expect to come 100%, despite me having a Thundurus, because, he needs to up those T-Spikes because I have no Poison type on the ground. Mega Heracross is a monster. Jirachi, of course, is going to come. Whether or not it's going to be Scarf, I really don't know because, he can either rely on it to hacks or he can just use it for a nice wall. Although it didn't really work out last time, so that's why I'm thinking it might be Scarf this time. Not that it was a wall last time, it was max speed last time, but he definitely had a better, I guess he was more of like a rock 3 attack set or whatever, or 2 attacks, I'm not sure. I really can't predict because he has a little mini Trick Room core and Porygon 2 and Torkoal, so I kind of do expect maybe one of those two does actually come because he probably expects me to bring a Trick Room sort of team this time. So I'm not really too sure, but nonetheless, it's always a tough match fighting this guy. He's really tough to face. So honestly, it's annoying sometimes. That's how hard it is. So but it's always for a good challenge. So. Leading the way this week, we have our late season MVP Thundurus, hopefully to put up a good performance once again. And it looks like it can because, of course, he has no ground type. And, of course, if I just keep this alive, get rid of potential Scarfers, it should be all right. But, of course, you have Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Sludge Wave, and Nasty Plot. Team was built by Youngster Bill, so thank you to Youngster Bill for building this team. Hopefully it was work out here. Opt to go Sludge Wave this time over HP Flying because this actually hits his Sylveon and his Tangrowth. Although I do like HP Flying a bit more for the Heracross, but hopefully I get a Nasty Plot up and have rocks and get some chip. Hopefully it won't matter. Of course, Fightinium Z Focus Blast, so I can actually land my Focus Blasts, mainly for the Hydreigon, potentially the Porygon, and potentially I guess the Jirachi, but it's a Spit F variant. But of course, it's a great set. It sweeps on paper. Got to get rid of the potential Scarfers. Get rid of the Sylveon, of course. It's probably a mon I probably can't set up on unless I have Veil because it's just such a monster. So, of course, expecting a big performance, hopefully. Next up, we're bringing Mega Camerupt, a mon that I really haven't had success with most of the season besides, one game. But even then, it hasn't done much. That's why I'm kind of, hectic to bring in, and I kind of talk with Bill a little bit and how I should play it or what should I do with it. Obviously, it's our main switch into Sylveon. Whether or not it specs, because I'm running a lot of bulk. Although I really wish I had ran a more of a Spit F set as opposed to Modest. But I like the damage, so it's fine. Getting up rocks is important to wear down his stuff like Heracross, his Hydreigon, stuff that gets annoying. Sylveon too, despite it having, Wish and all that sort of thing. But Flamethrower and Earth Power, the stat moves in general do really nice against his team. And they could definitely do something, I feel like, in this matchup. So I think Bill probably has a nice intention being able to take down Tangrowth and Toxapex. I do have some speed on this thing, enough to outrun a Toxapex with 8 speed, I believe. I could outspeed Tangrowth, I think. Although I could tank Earthquake pretty nicely, so not a huge deal. But something I need to take advantage of more with this is Veil and Mega Camerupt. Because with Veil, Mega Camerupt is really hard to break through. It actually allows it to take some water type attacks as long as they aren't stabbed. Maybe with stab too, depending on how invested they are. So, of course, I can take a Scald without Veil. So that's always cool from Toxapex. Toxapex is pretty damn weak. But ultimately, hopefully it does something. It hasn't done much all season, so it's kind of a risk for me. But, obviously this slot was usually filled by the Spider. Usually that's what we brought last time. So hopefully it works out in this matchup. Next, of course, we have the Alola Ninetales, Moonblast, Freeze Dry, Foul Play, Orville. The exact same set as last time. Really, really good offensive Mon in this matchup. It actually does very well. Gets most of his team, as you guys saw last time. Foul Play, of course, for the Jirachi. Need to utilize Orville in this matchup, because if I don't, then I'm probably going to get torn apart easily. So I got to utilize it. I got to find a way to use it. I haven't really used it all season, so hopefully it works out there. Next up, we have a Mew running an offensive set, just like last time. Nasty Plot, Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power, and Psychic. This hits pretty much most of his squad. Probably could have ran Side Shock to hit Sylveon a bit better. Probably should have done that for this matchup. It has made more sense, just going into the matchup. So, but besides that, Earth Power, of course, hits the Jirachi. The main thing, Dazzling Gleam hits the Hydreigon. And yeah, pretty much nothing else to say there. Really great Mon offensively, because like I said before, his team isn't very fast. I opted to run max speed here to tie his Jirachi. That way, he, if he does risk it, if he's not Scarf, then I can maybe hopefully punish him for it and deal some good damage with the Earth Power. That's definitely the plan for that. But ultimately, base 100 is a great speed tier in this matchup, because his only Mon faster than that is, of course, the Archeops. Then he is tied with Jirachi, but Archeops is a Mon that don't really expect to come in this matchup. So can always expect that. Rocky Helmet, Cofagrigus, of course, max defense, Pain Split, Knockoff, Toxic, Psychic. Bit of a different set this week. Mono Psychic is a bit scary for me, honestly. I'm not going to lie. It is a bit scary. But besides that, I need this in case he brings Scarf Jirachi. In case. I'm not going to lose to that thing again. So Cofagrigus is my switch in. Of course, it can deal with Heracross a little bit if I can get high HP off the knockoff, the first knockoff. Or don't let it, Swords Dance on me. So this is a nice check to his other physical attackers, such as Archeops. And I guess, we already said Jirachi. And I suppose his other one, like, what's his other physical attacker? Something like, I guess Cloyster, if it's not set up yet. So, that's why it's there. It doesn't do much, but it's there because I don't want to lose that thing. That's the only reason why. And finally, we have a Spadef Hariyama. Running a lot more Spadef here. I believe I'm running max special defense on this Hariyama. Yeah, we're running max special defense. No HP investment. We don't need an HP. 156 attack EVs and 100 speed EVs. 100 speed EVs to outrun a non-invested Sylveon. I think we can outrun like a 12 speed Sylveon, I think. I'm not sure. But of course, Guts is nice because if he brings T-Spikes again, I can just take advantage of that. I have Vacuum Wave to check the Cloyster. But hopefully I do get up rocks in this game. That'd be ideal. And yeah, I mean, it's my main switch into his Hydreigon. I guess it's my switch into Cloyster if he leads to turn 1, because if he goes for an Ice Ghost, Spear or Rock Blast, I can just switch in, take that, Vacuum Wave it twice, and kill it. So that's kind of the plan here. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the battle. I know you guys are probably looking forward to it, and I do apologize for not uploading many videos, but these last 2 leagues I've been in, they've been kind of slowing down at the end because other content creators want to just, focusing on other things. Of course, this match was delayed because, we had conflict issues, PAX East being a thing. But no big deal. We got the match done, so hopefully you guys enjoy. I do think it was a pretty good match, so, hopefully it's all good. So we see a team preview. He's got a pretty similar team to last time, although this time he decided to drop the Tangrowth and bring back Toxapex, and then he dropped the Cloyster for his Archeops. So if I had to guess, his Archeops is probably Choice Scarf, because it has to be able to outrun my Thundurus for him to have a chance, because Thundurus otherwise destroys his entire squad. So the middle 3 Mons, Jirachi, Archeops, and Hydreigon, one of those 3 has to be Scarf, if not Double Scarf. Double Scarf was actually something I thought about throughout this game, because some of his Pokemon, like Archeops and Jirachi, actually have pretty good time spamming their stab moves. Steel Stab is pretty good against me. Flying Stab is pretty decent against me. So something that I did think about, although, if it's not Acrobatics, I'm not sure what else he could probably spam. So yeah, I mean, going into the matchup, he's got 2 potential rockers, Archeops or Jirachi. So I got to play around with which one of those 2 could be Scarf, which one of those 2 could be rocks. Hydreigon could be Scarf as well, although it is a Zmon user. He has 2 Zmon users in his game, Archeops and the Hydreigon. Sylveon, we can probably expect to be Wish, standard stuff. Heracross, probably same thing as sub 3 attacks or sub SD, whatever. Pax is probably just a fat mixed defensive wall with T-Spikes. So the middle 3 are the ones that I'm worried about, Jirachi, Archeops, and Hydreigon. I have to figure out what their sets are immediately before I can play to my win cons, because it could really depend on what win cons could be here. I don't have Trick Room in this game. It probably could have been useful in this game, though, for sure. But anyways, I figured my best lead here would be the Alolan Ninetales because, Mega Camerout, because I want to get up rocks immediately. It pretty much deals with most of his leads, including Sylveon, the Jirachi, and the Toxapex. So, I kind of wanted to lead with that, and to see how it worked out. I want rocks up immediately. I kind of want to surprise it with the rocks and keep pressure on him from the beginning. But ultimately, I got to find out what his Scarf wants, and then from there, we can try to hopefully win this game. But if he gets up his hazards fast, then I'm definitely going to be in trouble. So, of course, Krakatoa, the Camerupt, leads the way. No nicknames, that's my bad, as he leads with the Heracross. Now, I calc this. If he's max attack adamant, Earthquake will always one-shot my spread. But he doesn't know my spread, so he wasn't going to risk it. But I do ultimately decide to switch into my Cofagrigus. This could have either been a double on his part predicting Cofagrigus, or he just predicted me not wanting to risk a spread. That's probably what I expect him to do there. So immediately I had to switch out into my Hariyama, as I could take pretty much any hit here. I'm kind of afraid of a physical set, to be honest, but he is special. Goes with the Dark Pulse, does relatively no damage to me. That Max F definitely coming in clutch there. As I do fire off my very, very predictable Close Combat. Probably could have Heavy Slammed here just to get off good damage, because he was never going to stay in. But of course, you know me, I don't really predict early on in the game. Don't want to risk much. But Close Combat, definitely telling me it's a bit of a more Fizz Def sets, although they're pretty decent amount of damage for me, only having 156 attack EV, so I really wasn't comfortable, predicting what kind of set it would be. So definitely not going to risk the Heavy Slam not killing. I wasn't going to kill from there, so I do go into my dedicated switch in, even though I'm not even Mega Evolved yet. I do go for the switch into my Mega Camel, but this gives me a great opportunity to get up my Stealth Rock, as he probably would just go back into his Hydreigon. It's always going to be a dedicated switch into this thing, as it resists both stab. Is immune to one. So I just go for the rocks here, pretty much a safe play, as he goes back into his Hydreigon, probably carrying the Surf or the Earth Power for this Pokemon. We've only seen Dark Pulse. He didn't like U-turn or anything like that, so he's definitely not like a Expert Belt or something. Definitely probably running a Z move or maybe even Specs, but he definitely was not Specs given the damage we saw. Could be Expert Belt to get the kill on something. So get on my rocks here. I don't expect him to have Defog, so I just go hard into my Hariyama once again. Pretty safe play because he can't really do much to me unless he's running a physical mix set or whatever it could be. But he does actually reveal Defog here, which is kind of annoying because I didn't expect him to have that, especially since I do expect him to have Rocks with on his Archeops or Jirachi and then have T-Spike. So that was kind of a weird thing for me, but it's smart because if I did bring Rocks, then he wanted to get him off the field, so it's a good play for him. So here I go for the Heavy Slam, expecting Sylveon, but he does make the nice middle ground play and go into his Toxapex, probably expecting Heavy Slam this time, which is nice. I do have Earthquake on this thing, which I do opt to go for, I believe. But instead I go into my Thundurus because I did not want to risk a double, and I figured, Thundurus is a very nice switch into Toxapex, because Toxapex cannot do anything to me. So from here, I can pretty much fire off a free Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is as free as can be. Of course, no ground type. We've talked about that the past 3 times we've played. And yeah, I could go for Plot here, but I don't want to risk anything having a Scarf, so there's really no point in going for a Plot, because if anything Scarf, then, it'd be a waste. So, or if I want to be scared, if I'm scared of something, I don't want to risk it. So, go for T-Bolt. Pretty much telling me it probably is a bulkier variant, but he actually was Scarf, and I dodged the Zen Headbutt, which is huge. Huge play there. A bit of redemption from last year, if you ask me. I finally get a little bit of hacks out of him on that stupid Jirachi, which seems to have cursed me. But yeah, he was Scarf. The damage told me he probably was a bit bulkier. I'm surprised I didn't 2-shot. I'm not sure what kind of set he was, in all honesty. He probably was running bulk. That way he could take foul play a little better, but I'm not too sure, even though he's Scarf, so it didn't really matter. But all-up pummeling does miss out on the kill, so he definitely was running some bulk on this thing. And here I make a bit of a misplay. I opt to go into Mew, because honestly I did not expect him to stay in his headbutt again. If I had went to Cofagrigus here, I would have killed it with Rocky Helmet, but I didn't. So with that, the Jirachi gets to stay around for a little bit longer as I go into my Mew. But here, I opt to go for my Earth Power play. Probably could have Nasty Plotted. Probably was the best play for me to Nasty Plot. But he does go straight into his Sylveon. Yeah, again, a misplay on my part. Definitely should have went for the Cofagrigus switch, because I would have killed Jirachi. Even if it means he gets in his Hydreigon, I would have at least killed his Jirachi, which would have been nice, because that way he can't come in later if I'm never able to get up Stealth Rocks. But I do have my Hail in the back, so I do plan on killing that thing later, hopefully, if I bring it in at the right time. So, Sylveon comes in, I go for the Nasty Plot, hoping to break through this thing. And this is where I wish I would have had Psyshock, because here he actually does opt to go for the Calm Mind. So, you know, this is actually pretty scary because if you look at my team, if my Harry Mama doesn't outspeed his Sylveon for whatever reason, like if he's running speed, this Sylveon could actually tear through my entire squad. It can. Now, obviously, I probably could have went to Ninetales and Oroville and try to, you know, stall it out, but it would have killed my team. It would have just won in the game for sure. So definitely am a little afraid of this thing. So Psychic doesn't do that much at all. Psyshock would have definitely put him into red. So that's where I wish I would have had Psyshock. But ultimately, Sylveon does pick up the first kill on my Mew. So now, here's a big moment. If Sylveon outruns my Harry Mama, I lose a game, straight up. So I had to bring it in. I had to risk it all. Bring in my Harry Mama. Have guts. Guaranteed to kill this thing in Heavy Slam, even if he's max defense. So goes for Protect. Definitely trying to scout what I'm going to go for. He knows I have Heavy Slam already. And here, I have to click it again because if I try to predict and he stays in, the game's over. Like, I will lose the game 100%. Even though I'm Assault Vest, that Hyper Voice will kill at +1. There's no doubt about it. So I'm not playing any games. I just want to kill this thing because if it kills me, I'm done. So thankfully, thanks to the youngster Bill with EV spread, helps me out, and I do outrun the Sylveon as he stays in, expecting to be faster. But he did tell me later on that he expected me to predict his Toxapex and go for Quake. But in my position right there, I was never going to predict that because like I said, I would have lost the game straight up. So here, I thought about this play hard. I thought about keeping this thing. I thought about not keeping it. So I opted to go straight to Confrigus because, you know, this Heracross is always hard to play on. This the entire time we've played this thing. So I thought about it hard because, you know, I expected knockoff, I expected sub, I expected close combat. So I did ultimately make the play and go into my Confrigus as he does opt to close combat, not wanting to play around with the Harry Mama. And even if I did go into Confrigus, he can always come in and go for knockoff next play. He does go for it. Bit of a weird play for me because I thought maybe he would expect me to go for Wisp there. But then again, he's seen me carry HP flying a lot of the time. So, you know, I'm not sure what went on there. But this pretty much tells me that he's probably wanting to get it injured for either his Archeops or his Jirachi, which is something to note. Because he probably wants one of those two to come in late game and destroy me. Although he did have Hydreigon, so something a bit weird to me. So here is another weird play. I do click Pain Split, expecting him to just stay in and knock me out. But he actually goes hard into Hydreigon, which was really a bad play because, you know, he knows that from the times he played, this thing really can't touch Hydreigon. But here I'm able to get off a nice amount of damage with the Pain Split. And I'm back up to a really healthy range to where I can actually, you know, be annoying to that Archeops. And as well as, you know, deal with Jirachi. So that's really good. So back at HP. Good at HP. I go back into my Harry Mama. We're tied at 5-all right here. To his Dark Pulse, of course, doing no damage to me. And here was when the timer went down a little bit because he was definitely calcing to see if his Z move would kill me, as he did end up having it, which is nice to know because, you know, we know he's not Scarf for sure. We weren't really confirmed with that before because all we saw was Dark Pulse switch out, Defog switch out. So, you know, definitely good to know he's not Scarf. You know, it probably was safe to say he wasn't, but we never knew because he has to have a Scarfer somewhere because of my Thundurus, and we already saw with the Jirachi. So now we could probably assume that that Archeops is probably a Sash Rocker. Although if he was Sash, he probably would have let it turn 1. So that's something that was to keep in mind throughout the game. So going to my Ninetales, finally bringing it out. My Kurama, finally bringing it. You know, finally to get some damage off because now with Jirachi low, Moonblast is pretty free. I can always freeze dry the Pex when it comes in. Probably could have freeze dried right here to get a safer 2-shot on this thing, or get it closer to 2-shot. It wasn't a 2-shot, but go for Moonblast. I wasn't gonna risk him having Flash Cannon, but from there we saw Dark Pulse, Defog, and Earth Power. Wasn't sure of his last move yet, so was definitely not gonna risk the Flash Cannon potentially. So that's why I went for Moonblast there. So Toxapex comes in, and here I can finally utilize my Orville here because, you know, I've never been able to most of the season. As he makes a pretty nice switch into his Jirachi, expecting me to go for that. So pretty good play on his part. Although I do have Hail up, so there's 2 turns of Hail will knock this thing out. So if I can keep it on the field for 2 plays, it's gone. So of course 1 turn brings it down to its little amount of HP. No, it's Scarf. We know it's not Wish, unless he's Scarf Wish, which would be wild. So do go hard into my Camera, which is a pretty nice switch into this thing right here, despite what he wants to go for. Iron Head, U-turn. No matter the play, would have been a headbutt. With Rail, Camera up with the eat this up with ease. So U-turn is his play. Definitely going into that Hydreigon again because he can take me on with the Earth Power. as well as defog my rocks away. So here, I do want to get up rocks no matter what. So at this point, I do want to just spam Stealth Rock to, prevent his defog. So ultimately, in that scenario, as long as he doesn't flinch me with Dark Pulse, I can keep my rocks up for sure. So he does go for Dark Pulse, wanting me to flinch me down. Or he could predict my Thundurus coming in. But I would assume he probably wanted to prevent rocks. So I do go for rocks there, and I do go for rocks one more time, expecting him to defog. But here is where he reveals his final move, which is actually a really good thing. Reveals the Roost, so we know he's Roost, Defog, Dark Pulse, and the Earth Power. Although we haven't seen Earth Power yet, he probably could have been Earthquake, but he was definitely going to be Earth Power, I feel like. So, yeah, the Hail does go away, but my Camera Up does end up dying to the Toxic. So my Camera Up goes down. But we got up rocks, which is really important, and now he can never get him off the field without being pressured, because I have two of my 3 mons left. Destroy this thing, so I can keep rocks off the field, hopefully, throughout the game. So we're down 3-5. Not the greatest position, but Jirachi's really low. Rocks are up for the Archeops. Heracross loses to 2 of my 3 Pokemon left. So we have a chance here. Go for Moonblast. Definitely could have went for Freeze Dry there, because, he was never going to stay in, because he didn't have Flash Cannon. But I did not want him to defog, so if I just Freeze Dried there, I would have been in a great position, because then Toxapex would be close to a 2-shot. Hopefully, I'm not sure what the calc would have been from there. So now, go for the Freeze Dry once more. I think I have like 3 turns of Veil at this point, as I expect him to go for the Recover there, but he does have to go for the Skull, which isn't the biggest deal in the world, because I guess he figured that, I forget, because he told me something later on, but I forgot if it was that turn, because it could have been that turn or some other turn. I'll tell you guys later in a second, but he does go switch out. He has Regenerators, so not a big deal. As I go for the Freeze Dry, and he actually does opt to sack his bird. I do want to assume that last play was what happened. So that last play there, the reason why he had to Scald and not recover was because I believe he thought that Veil was already over. His bottom screen did not show the Veil, but there were so many things on his screen. I think Rocks were on his screen, Hail was on his screen, Toxic Spikes were on his screen. I'm not sure how that works out, if it's on your screen or my screen, but that's probably why he didn't see the Aura Veil on the drag out, because if he would have just recovered there, he would have been able to stall out my Ninetales, but I guess he expected me to go for Veil there, so that's probably what the turn he was talking about. So that's why he made that play and went to Archeops, which sucked, because, he could have probably stalled out my Ninetales a little bit more, especially since I didn't have Encore to stop it, or disable or whatever. So Veil finally goes away, but of course Thundurus is nice on this thing because he can't do much to me. I go for T-Bolt, and at this point it's looking pretty good for me. Thundurus and Ninetales can pretty much carry me through this game as long as I get rid of that Jirachi, because we know it's Scarf. But there's also one more thing we got to do. We got to hit a Focus Blast on that Hydreigon. We've missed Fire Blasts, we've missed Focus Blasts, all season. So relying on that to win the game is always something that's really rough for me. So not good. So Knockout Toxapex has been quite a slugfest. It was 3-5, but we brought it back to 3-3. He brings in Hydreigon, rocks damage. Focus Blast is a roll to kill here. We do land, thankfully, man. Like, God, my heart was like tight here. But he does tank, and he opts to defog, which is fantastic. So now my Thundurus pretty much wins the game no matter what, because with the defog, he saves Jirachi, yes, but Hail will come in and kill it. So there was no fear there. Go for T-Bolt. And yeah, I mean, Dark Pulse wouldn't have killed me anyway, I don't think so. I'm not sure if he had an out to that situation. But Hydreigon does go down. And at this point, as long as he doesn't have, like, I don't know. I think you guys know what's going to happen here. I think we're going to win this game here. Obviously, U-turn would have been interesting here. But, I mean, I would have just Moonblasted anyway, like the Heracross. And with Hail up, the game would have been over. There was no way he was going to be able to win this game. I think it would have been like 1-0 at best for me. At worst for him, I think. Or at best for him, yeah, 1-0. Because if he had U-turn, the Heracross, he takes a Moonblast. But then he would have died to Poison and Hail, I think. Because we see this last turn. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, anyway. So, Jirachi goes down to the Hail on his Ice Punch. But as we can see here, Moonblast will bring him down to Poison and Hail range. I was kind of hoping I'd kill it here, but we saw that similar damage last time. As Heracross does knock me out with the Pin Missile. And what that means, Ninetales goes down, unfortunately. But Thunder is still alive. Coferiga's actually still alive, surprisingly. But Scarab goes down to the Poison plus the Hail. So that Toxic earlier actually was pretty clutch. So Not really. Thunder's would have killed anyway. But what that means is Texas Pokemon Rangers pick up the win over Infinite Color, coach of the South Texas Sableyes, and a pretty good match there. Definitely some weird plays on both of our ends. He definitely admitted he played a little bad in the game. It was a little weird with the Heracross switch out and then the him forgetting Veil. But besides that, it wasn't like a terribly played game. He shouldn't feel too bad. You know, I definitely think my prep was pretty well thanks to the youngster Bill. I think Camel finally did something with the rocks. It didn't really do much offensively, but it actually did something somewhat because, you know, it forced him out his Heracross. But yeah, that Calc turn 1, close combat actually had a chance to kill, which is crazy. Which is where I would have wished I wanted a bit of a bulkier set with Camera up. Because with Sheer Force, it was always going to do a lot of damage to his team. So that's where I would have wished I wanted some bulk there. But he definitely wasn't going to risk him not killing me. If he even had Earthquake. Because we saw Pin Missile. We saw Knockoff. We saw CC. So there's a chance he probably didn't have Earthquake. So that's something to note there. So that's probably something I should have thought about. I was never going to risk it turn 1. So anyways, the Rangers have won, and we are moving on to the PGBL Season 2 Championship game. Good to get some revenge, and of course, this is actually our 3rd straight finals in our past 3 leagues we've been in, the GBAD League, the XBL, and of course, now the PGBL. But unlike the other 2, hopefully we can actually win the championship game. Because think about it, guys. We could have been a 3-peat right now in 3 different leagues. We could have been. But, you know, it just hasn't meant to be. So, I believe we do take on Vizually, Viz, coach of the Cincy Scizors, in which he dominated me earlier this season. You guys did not see that upload, unfortunately, just due to some personal issues. But, yeah, hopefully we can pick up a win there, keep the championship in the West, because actually Josh, you know, coach of the South Texas Sableyes, he was the defending champion. So, hopefully we can keep the championship in the West, keep it in Texas. And hopefully we can just grab a title before we head back to the D-League. So, yeah. Hope you all enjoyed that match. Pretty good game. Great build. Thank you to Youngster Bill. Thank you to everybody who's been patient with me as of recent. I know the channel has slowed down a bit, but with GBA D-League coming back, when I go back, hopefully, that's the plan. You know, hopefully we can turn it up a little bit. School will be done, so I can focus on that sort of thing. Hopefully get back to streaming. And yeah, thank you all for the support, and I'll see you guys next time, hopefully next week, for the Pokemon Global Battle League Season 2 World Championship game. I'll catch y'all then. Go Rangers!